testing standards for game day, PPTQs, and all kinds of things like that. In front of you would be monoblack aggro on the left and Abzan Aggro on the right side of your screen. These are pre-boarded games, so games with main deck configurations, shuffling, cutting, and all things like that. We took a basic stock list of Abzan Aggro here, and the monoblack list is basically the classic one, Ferris based, with a lot of enchantments, creatures, and bestow creatures, and so on. I like it way more than the monoblack humans version with Obelisk of Ord. I'm sure you've probably heard of it or seen it a little bit. Abzan Aggro started with a Temple of Malady, turn 1 Scry, and I started with a turn 1 Blood Champion. Pretty basic starts. I apologize in advance for the blinks because of the lights here on the videos. After this game we basically managed to somehow fix that issue, but I would tell you everything what's gonna happen there. What he did was just tap land on turn 2 and nothing else. I think it was the trial land. Sorry for my voice. Got a bit of a hot soup, so no sickness, just some really good hot soup, like I ate a giant pot of it. So champion attacked, -2 for him, and then the Minotaur came in. That's a 2/1 which can't block as well, and it has the bestow ability as well for 4 mana. The fact that he started in this game didn't quite help him all that much. So Lanover wastes, taken 1, casting Anafanza, the foremost. He's trying to make his lands visible, but it didn't quite succeed. I could see the battlefield on my screen, but not his hand, so it's all fine. But you know, the classic Abzan's mana base. Bashing with both guys, he doesn't exactly know my build, he goes to block the champion for some reason, while he should have blocked the 2/1 anyway, and I had the boon of Erebos, lost 2 life in the process, but kept my guy and basically get rid of his guy. Another Temple Melody in his hand, place mainline Bile, Blight, Wingmate, and Surak. On one hand you see the Surak in his deck, and on the other hand it's Bile, Blights and Wingmate rocks. We did not really tune his deck to answer this particular matchup, but it was just a generic consideration to keep the configuration like that. So it has the Suraks, it doesn't have Wardens, it doesn't have the Thermocus commands. I don't like the Wardens, even though everybody likes to have 2 of them in their decks. Thermocus command is awesome, but instead we have Duress and Sideboard and Thoughtseize in the main deck. The links for the deck list would be in the description below. Then I just had a Mogis' Marauder, giving my guys haste and intimidate for the turn, so plays well around his line. And even if he casts his Wingmate rock, which I kept in his hand, and I took out Bile Blight, as I remember correctly, because I didn't really care for his non-black creatures. I was racing pretty well, and I had the second Mogis' Marauder already in hand, and he knew he would be dead to the second one of those, but if I wouldn't, that he would basically stabilize in this game pretty nicely, having 2 big blockers, and next attack he would just gain a bunch of life and actually try to race here. Plus my guys can't really block, but I did have the second Marauder, so that was for game 1, even though I was on the play, on the draw there, and he was on the play. So this is game 2, still without the sideboard, so because the first game wasn't particularly interactive. Well, it was actually interactive, but it wasn't the best way to show the matchup in a way, but still quite a nice one. So I almost rushed to play 1 drop there. In my case, it was a Thoughtseize there as my only turn 1 ply, so I hit a slow hand, but at least I had the Thoughtseize. But he was forced to mulligan down to 6. That's my hands, couple of Swamps, Delta, Seer, Thoughtseize, and Herald of Torment and something else. I think it was another removal, which the deck doesn't run that many, only a few. But I do run Thoughtseize in the main. So a couple of lands, double Fleece main, an offense and a downfall. Because I'm on the play here, don't really care so much about downfall or an offense, that they're not that great against me. But the fact that he can cast like turn 2 and turn 3 for sure, lines number 1 and 2, makes me want to take the line. So I'm not happy about this. The fact that he has the second one is gonna be really annoying in this game, but it's still generically a good choice to take here. So just a tapping from him, play my land number 2, just a Seer, which I don't think we'll get through unless I draw like good removal there. I don't think I had a good one there. That's why I was a bit sad that he had double lion there. I'm attacking. He doesn't take it because he saw the boon of Erebos in game 1. I think it's one of the best cards in the deck. I'm not sure whether 2 is even enough. Maybe like 3 is actually fine in that build. So I fetched. There was Thoughtseize and boon, so I'm already down to 15, and he's just at 19. But I dealt with, well, his early drops, he just had a tap land there, and now 2 drop. And I already have a Seer. Oh, I forgot to show him the card with the Seer. This would have been like at least a warning, because I almost mixed it up with my hands, but I showed it. So that was Master of the Fist, so I lost 3 life due to its mana cost. But it was fine. I felt like I wasn't in a big danger of dying there, and I could always just choose not to attack with those. That's an aggressive attack there, but with Master of the Fist I feel like I have a chance to kind of race. I know that he has already like downfall in his hand or an offensa, and I was kind of fine with him casting downfall here on my Master. And I don't really have that many high drops in my deck. I have 8 free drops, but everything else costs 1 or 2 or 0 because of the lands. I'm fine with him drawing a card first and me like triggering Seers. Although I think because I'm the owner of the triggers, I can choose to stack it in such a way that first I draw the cards from Seer and then he draws the card, because they both trigger it at the beginning of my upkeep. But it doesn't really matter so much in this case. See, I play my land number 5. Then And because I already know that his plan is downfalling my guy, I bestow the Spiteful Return in my Painter, so giving it +1/+1, and when my guy attacks, my opponent would lose 2 life. Because essentially he is either way saving himself 5 points of damage, he decides to downfall my guy at the beginning of combat. But this is much better because I still have a guy left in play, and Master of the Fist is very good against him. Much better than some ground guy. So I fetched, pushing myself down to 10 already, and cast the Tormented hero. That's the 2/1 for 1, which comes into play untapped and drains for 1 when it's get targeted by me, of course. So that's heroic ability. Land number 5 from him, it's a fetch. He's in a pretty bad position here. If it would be post-Sideboard games, he would have Drown in Sorrow, clean my board except for Master. But Master still eventually would kill him. I had a Mogis' Marauder in hand already, and I would draw from 1 extra from the Painter, and one of cards would be Bile Blight. That's how we sideboarded, folks. So he brought in obviously 3 Drown in Sorrows, 1 Elspeth, extra Soaring, I believe. I know it was only one Soaring in the main deck, and that was it. So sorry guys, that was so quick, but I'll explain to you while you see us shuffling and so on. So he brought in Drown in Sorrows, he brought in Erase, Back to Nature, Reclamation, Sage 1, Elspeth, and he took out Wingmate rocks. They're a bit too slow while I have a lot of removal. He obviously took out the Thoughtseize, took out 1 Downfall and 1 Abzan Charmus, clunky, really clunky, high cost spells, and he brought it in 1 Bile Blight while I took out the 2 Marauders, Spiteful returned, couple of Painters, 1/1 drop, and I brought in an extra Bile Blight, couple of Murderous cuts, 2 Erebos, 2 Dark Betrayals, 1 Empty Duchions, and 1 Whip of Erebos. My hand in this game is quite slow, as you can see. I will also go with a text version of our sideboarding plan in the description below the video, so that if you didn't quite get what I meant here, or that quick showcase of the sideboard on the video was too short, so you can catch up. So just a temple from him. I was very glad to hit some early action. So that was Blood Soap Champion over there. Just a Taplin from him on turn 2. I attacked, so he was down to 18. Cast a Herald of Torment. He can obviously Bile Blight it. He cast Urborg. His mana is perfect at this point. And he decides to cast an offensive here, which was a little bit weird for me. Why he did that, I don't know. I didn't have a way to kind of get rid of an offensive effectively, but I did have a downfall to draw another 1-drop. The Tormented hero attacked for 5. So I was really glad to draw like into more cheap spells. My deck becomes a little bit slower after sideboard, but way more resilient to Drown in Sorrows and Bile Blights and stuff like that. Just a Rhino on turn 4, casually for him. That's the way it should go for him. I untap. Super glad I have this flyer there. Things would go even better for me. I decide to attack. Boon of Erebos is not really a good card here, but the Bile Blight is. I go 2 for 1 with his Rhino, but it's okay. I think I had a second downfall in hand, but decided not to use it, because this way I could have traded to Bile Blight, which could be not super effective later on in the game. Maybe it wasn't really correct, but I didn't feel bad because I was racing and champion can jump back and stuff like that. And I was already racing him, and I had another removal in my hand for his next creature. Because he was short on like white mana sources, so he couldn't play his second Fleece Mainline he had in the hand. So I attacked here, bringing him to 8. Didn't attack with a champion, but decided to cast the Erebos over here. Instead of spending a removal on his line. Or did I have another removal on hand? I'm not sure. Those games were super fast. So now relying, soaring. I was super glad that I cast the Erebos the turn before he cast the soaring. He didn't quite realize that Erebos actually switches off all of his live game, and with him having the soaring in there, it just was so brutal. And I reminded him about this so that he would do a smart play over there, making a 2/2 vampire token with flying instead of blasting the soaring, which would have been like really terrible decision. So yeah, I contemplate here for a little while what to do and decide to cast Bestow of that Minotaur guy, so +2/+1 on the champion. Either way, my Erebos would be online because the devotion to black is 5 here. I could have put it on the Torment, but in case of removal, that wasn't really great, and this way I was able to safely attack with the champion. I attacked with all my guys to him because he was forced to actually trade some creatures, otherwise he would die, so he needed to block 2 of my guys here. It wasn't quite obvious, of course, like we quickly decided that was just a terrible block, just giving away all of his creatures. Well, he would essentially trade for a champion with his line, but that was just terrible, and he didn't have to block absolutely all of them while he was at 8, so we decided that yeah, he takes 3 from the Herald of Torment and just blocks 2 my other guys. So he keeps 1 line in play, and the Soaring could still make another token. Which I would probably do at this point, because of Erebos Soaring became way less effective. And Erebos is actually one of the reasons to bring in. Erebos has one of the giant reasons to be there because of soaring and also rhinos. So with some creatures on board and unchecked soaring, he could gain way too much life. So he decided to go for a line plus the Thoughtseize and plus the soaring, which is probably rather unexciting for him, because I still have the indestructible Erebos. It was only one black mana symbol away from being online once again. So I cast Pain Seer before combat. That was kind of obvious. Now he would be forced to actually champ my Erebos once again, and still probably just go out 2 because of the Herald of Torment. If he would just cast the line, no, he wouldn't have. He was 1 mana short of casting the line and having 5 to make it indestructible, so that he wouldn't have to actually champ block the Erebos. He was quite unlucky not drawing any removal there for my Herald, which basically won the game for me there. So he just cast Surag, but the haste and beatdowns wouldn't matter because he needed extra blockers and he was already down to 2 and I had 4 attackers next turn. So he needed to play 1 more guy over here or cast a removal spell. And I don't know why he didn't scoop there. Well, I drew 1 card from Erebos and the turn, paid 2 life for that, then another 1 at upkeep for the Herald. And yeah, I just went for it. Of course, like if he would have a Blight, that would have been a blowout, perhaps, but I would just play a few more creatures, stuff like that. Even if he had the Blight, he pretty much had to hit at least 1 of his creatures. I don't know. I feel like if he had Blight, he would probably just cast it last turn. My hand had some gas, but nothing super exciting. It's a big point that the tokens from Empty the Cheons come into play tapped. Or the real name of that card is Empty the Pits. So another post-Sideboard game over here between monoblack aggro and Abzan Aggro. Again, the Abzan Aggro player is forced to mulligan down to 6. I've seen most of the players of Abzan Aggro went up to 26 lands because there are so many mana sinks in that deck and you want to hit all your lands every turn, starting from turn 1 to turn 5, pretty much. And because of Abzan Charms, you have some way to cast multiple things in the late game and negate the fact of running so many lands. So just a green-white temple from him in turn 1, kept it on top, Thoughtseize on turn 1, just 2 lands were raised to line, Blight and Soaring. He couldn't cast Blight on curve, and I didn't want an early blocker from him, so turn 2 I played just a couple of 1-drops. Later you would see that I should have probably taken away the Elspeth. So I attacked, he takes 2 from the Llanowar Waste. Blight's one of my guys, obviously the one which doesn't have the ability to jump back from graveyard to play, like champion does. I don't have any other threats for that turn. I fetch. And so yeah, I fetched on the turn, drew my card for the turn. It's another fetch. They're basically in the deck, not just to finish, but also there I have some Murderous cuts and empty the pits in the sideboard. But if you don't run those cards, then probably you can manage without the fetchlands. So he Blighted the Painter at the end of my turn. Champion doing some work, not quite enough. He didn't hit land number 4 here yet. Exhaustive Dealer, I end the turn, Dark Betrayal it, and fetch again. And yeah, I think that wasn't the game when Elspeth kicked my ass. So it was the game when he actually got kinda screwed a little bit for just enough time for me to kick his butt. Sorry for the spoiler, but this game will be over soon, but you probably want to know how it ended. Anyways, he's at 7, so cast the Master of the Fist. So, turn back to me. After he casts Siege Rhino, Master is little for him, but I'm getting a bit flooded. Where was that? The game when Elspeth actually kicked my ass? Maybe. Okay, he drew an extra card from the Master at my upkeep. Going to combat. And because he doesn't care so much, he took 1 extra damage and cast Abzan Aggro on my Master, exiling it. He cast a Thoughtseize. See a lot of gas. Death Dealer, Lying, Surak, and Soren. Oh yeah, he didn't have Elspeth in this game. When I Thoughtseized him on turn 1. He decides to attack first, which is kind of funny. I didn't quite smell that he would have another Rhino over there. Because these games went quite alike, so I'm not exactly sure if this is the game I'm explaining correctly. Oh yes, it was. So he went up to 6 with another Siege Rhino. And I'm already down to 4. And I know his hands, and I have a Dark Betrayal from the top to deal with 1 Rhino, but not enough to actually seal the game. So I flooded like insanely, even after fetching a few times. Okay, another game of this funky matchup where I feel like even after sideboard I'm a little bit favored because my Sideboard plan plays around Drown and Sorrow so well. And I even have a lot of stuff main deck which I obviously don't take out, which is already good against stuff like Drown and Sorrow. So I took out to Raise, which is awkwardly super good against me, basically 1 mana removal for most of my guys. Well, not for all of them, but for quite a few. Plus it exiles Erebos, exiles the Whip. So after he started with the Temple, so it's Norborg for him, allowing him to cast the Bile Blight onto my guy. And we decided that he obviously cast it at the beginning of combat so that I just don't buy it back for free. So I continue with the Herald the Tormented. He debates on what to cast here. I took one from Herald at the upkeep. Then at the beginning of combat he decides to exile it, because if he exiles it later I get to rebuy the Bledsoe champion. And second main cast another Herald the Torment. I only play 2 in the deck because I play 2 Mogis' Marauders and 4 Master of the Feast. Green-White Temple from him. Exiles 3 cards, so Thoughtseize for 3 mana. It's not exactly amazing here. I attacked with Heralds, rebuyed my guy, played another 1-drop, hoping that he doesn't have a Drown in Sorrow over here. Another land from him. Just passes the turn, which is a bad sign for me. Yeah, I hit my land number 4. And I attack with all my guys. I have the empty the pits in hand. That's why I kind of suicide one of my 1 mana guys. Or I'm trying to bail out something from him. So I cast, after blockers, Bile Blight on his guy, 2 for 1 in myself, but I think it's worth it in this position. He, in response, activated, milled 2 lands, but nothing else. I decided in that case just spend 2 Bile Blights on killing his Thoughtseize and keeping my guy. He is already at 12. Now land number 6. Fetch. He's at 11. But that doesn't quite matter, because that's the game when things went horribly wrong for me. So Elspeth plus make some tokens. Nothing to kill right there. Just 3/1/1 soldiers, stopping my ground guys. Soldiers are flying all over the place. Eventually they end up on his playmat. Throw some more, because I believe more soldiers will be coming quite soon, unless I would draw a downfall or something. But spoiler alert, I did not. Take 1 from Herald. I know that with the flyer I would essentially kill Elspeth with 2 hits, so I attack with the Herald into Elspeth and with 2 of my other guys into... I eventually decided to attack Elspeth with all my guys. And I attacked with my ground guys here because I had the empty the pits and I wanted to cast it for more. and even if I would rebind my guy, he would be still a 2-1, and he wouldn't be able to block, and it's much better to have a bunch of 2-2s against his soldiers, which are 1-1s, than have a 2-1 guy, so it was okay for me to suicide some of those guys. Elspeth goes down to 2, so I'm hoping to finish her off next turn, but before she would die, she would anyway produce more soldiers, and I'm kind of flooded here. Even though I play only 22 lands and some fetchies and so on. But because I don't have things like Abzan Charm to smoothen out those draws. Yeah. If it wouldn't have been for the Elspeth, I would have been in the fine shape. And then the card, which you don't normally see in this deck anymore, only occasionally in green devotion decks, Reclamation Sage. Solid 2-for-1 here. Of course, the normal monoblack humans with the obelisk doesn't have enchantment creatures, but it does have the obelisk, which would probably keep in the deck against this in this matchup because of Drowning Swords. So end the turn, tap for mana, exile 5 guys, exile 5 cards from my graveyard, and keep just Blasto Champion because it's not gonna help here with the empty, because it has to be an even number of the mana spent to cast it. So I have 3 2/2s. That doesn't really help. And here, something like Mogis' Marauder, giving haste and intimidate to my guys would have helped quite a bit, but generically against his deck, it's not a great card. So Elspeth ticks up to 4, more soldiers, Temple to Scry. He has so much stuff going on, and he is at healthy 11 life. And I didn't draw quite much. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, check out the website, check out the description where to go for sideboard plans and deck lists and extra info. Until next sailing, goodbye bros.